All right, everyone, we're back. Srimad Bhagavtam. We had a really lovely weekend. Very lovely. We were at Gita. All right, everyone, we're back. All right, now that I'm back, only one. Yeah, it was a really nice weekend. On the way back, we also had an interesting sobering experience where we actually just got there when a car accident had happened. And there was the back of a car was crumpled, and then there was a bunch of young people literally pulling themselves out of the car. But there was one lady who was lying face down on the ground, and she was not appearing to move. And luckily we didn't see all kinds of a bloody mess or anything like that, but she was lying face down on pavement, not moving. Her friends are crying and things like this. It was a little disturbing, but I thought it was kind of a sobering and a little bit healthy reminder. Even though we just had like a wonderful weekend over at this Bhakti Yoga retreat at Gitanagari, that actually this life is very temporary, and at any moment it could be ended very quickly. Especially, we drive these automobiles so frequently. This is, but anything could kill us. We fall off a certain thing, a certain way, and that could be it. So anyway, I thought that was a very kind of sobering moment to the weekend. I thought I saw the lady, move on the ground, but then I was also realizing I think her friends were trying to shake her. But my wife, she didn't think that the girl was moving, and we're gonna actually try and check up on the accident. Maybe there's some kind of news article about it. But anyway, what's this have to do with Bhagavatam? Is that the urgency of these teachings is just that. It's quite urgent, because you never know when the opportunity of human life can come to an end. And even if you're alive, which we're all right now alive, this priority can slip from you so quickly. And Sahil, good morning. This priority can slip from you so quickly, and in the slipping away, we can get caught up in things that really have nothing to do with the ultimate truth of life. So while we have this rare opportunity as one, being in a human body, and then two, actually having the attention span to contemplate the absolute truth, we should very urgently try and do this process, because who knows when this opportunity will arise for us again, and who knows if it can be taken so quickly. Yes, go ahead. The good news is that Krishna significantly blesses you when you embark on this path, and he protects his devotees. And so usually these type of things don't happen to a devotee of the Lord unless somehow or other it's for the devotee's ultimate spiritual benefit. So actually, to be truthful, nothing happens in this world that isn't for the living entity's spiritual benefit. But instead of feeling almost like a chastisement from this material world, which is kind of the default that actually most of us are feeling due to our trying to enjoy separately from the divine, this innate conditioned nature of this material world. But for the devotee who starts to approach the divine, approach the Lord in a sincere way, even if something seemingly bad happens, it's ultimately the devotee knows how to see it as the Lord's mercy and understand that it is the Lord's mercy and find the deeper spiritual meaning in that thing. I was kind of hoping this girl could have some type of near-death experience, and maybe hopefully she comes back and she has some type of spiritual revelation come to her life. That would be nice, but there's no guarantee. Whatever has happened, and it's up to the Lord what the ultimate result will be. But we'll pray for her ultimate well-being, and we know that that's ultimately what's coming to everyone anyway. So anyway, that was a sobering moment we had yesterday. After a really wonderful retreat. It was almost like intoxicating how excited and inspired, especially being around other advanced devotees and serving alongside of them. It was so nice. And watching so many new people take to this process in such a profound way, shedding tears and, appreciation and love and gratitude for finding something that, is so wonderful for their lives. So I'm quite inspired. But also from yesterday's car ride back, I'm a bit sobered. So that's my mood right now. Sober, a little tired, but inspired. So, let's continue our Bhagavatam reading. We haven't read in a little bit because we were away at the retreat. So let's continue. Last time we got into some of the different incarnations of the Lord, the fish incarnation, Matsya, Prithu, who started agriculture and he was the ideal king. Then the Kurma, the form of a tortoise. And I think we stopped there because we were talking about some of, the need for, there's an ocean of milk, or there's a pivot and all these things. And I think somehow or other we got into the cosmology of the Bhagavatam. And we went off into a huge tangent. Did we go to the moon? And all these type of things. But we're going to resume here. So before we do that, though, we'll say some prayers honoring the gurus. We'll say some prayers honoring each other, honoring the Supreme Lord, and like that. So,
Manjanati virandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Chaitanya manobishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dati swapadantikam. Shri Guru Shri Udpada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivanam Sadvetam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Hare Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Vishvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakaltarushvyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांता स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्यता देशतारिणे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमः भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमः भगवते वासुदेवाय नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan unto Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and benefactor of truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Coming from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-17.
नाष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमाश्लोके त्रिभावति नैष्टिकी. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart is almost completely destroyed, and long loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. Verse 16.
Verse 16. So, we shall continue on, carry on as we have been doing. So, Sura Suranamudadhim
Sara Surana Mudadhim
Matnatam Mandarachalam
Matnata Mandarachalam
Dadre Kamatha Rupena
Dadre Kamat Rupena
Prishta Ekadashe Vibhu.
Prishta Ekadashe Vibhu.
So, I think we actually read this, what was it? Sura,
Sura,
the theist,
theist.
Asuranam, of the
Asura,
atheists,
the theist.
Udadhim,
Udadhim,
in the ocean,
the ocean.
Mathanatam,
Matnata,
churning,
churning.
Mandarachalam,
Mandarachalam,
the Mandarachala hill,
the Mandarachala hill.
Dadhre,
Dadre,
sustained,
sustained.
Kamatha,
Kamatha,
tortoise,
tortoise.
Rupena,
Rupena,
in the form of,
the form of.
Prishte,
Prishte,
shell,
shell.
Ekadashe,
Ekadashi,
the 11th in the line,
11th in the line.
Vibhu, the great.
Vibhu the great.
The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as a turning rod by the theists and atheists of the universe. Yes.
This ocean that we're talking about is the cosmic ocean, is the ocean of the earth.
So, actually, it's a bit mysterious. Some people say it's like the Milky Way, like the galactic ocean. Some people say it's on a plane from which we can't understand. I don't believe it's the ocean of the earth. It may exist somewhere beyond. We were talking about last time that the earth as we know it is only given to us by the governing agencies. Yes.
So during the the Varaha Avatar, the demon who put the earth in the ocean, that is said to the cosmic ocean, is this the same ocean as the one that being Samudra Manthan is happening?
No.
Because
No, so the earth was not put into the
This is I think the ocean that they're speaking is on Swetadeepa, where Lord resides. It's different, and then the place from where the earth was lifted, it was a filthy place. It was not Swetadeepa. Swetadeepa is basically a island around the Milk Ocean where the Lord resides. So it's not on the earth, I mean, on the planet Earth, but it's in the galaxy.
Yeah, it's a bit mysterious where we don't know. The demigods approach this ocean. Yeah, so but the earth was not in the earthly waters either. It was in like the Garbhodaka waters at the bottom of the universe. So it's like yeah. So that's no. It's good to question. No, but yeah, this is on a more mysterious plane beyond our.
Because this avatar, this tortoise avatar, that hill was balanced on its back.
Yes.
So it must be this avatar should, because if the avatar is happening, generally the avatar happens in the Bhulok, and it become to the earth as an avatar, like Narsimha avatar or Rama avatar, and other avatars happened on the surface of the earth. Why I ask this question? Because if this avatar is taking place, then it's not in this earth happening. It's happening somewhere far in the universe. Then, and how it's related mostly.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I actually do think there is some connection to, like we talked about, what the actual Earth is. It's not it's not it's not what we think it is. It's just it's a very large plane that is very expansive. So there is I mean the cosmology of the Bhagavatam will talk about it, where these things are. There's different oceans said to be still attached to the Bhumandala plane, but as you go beyond, right now there's an ocean of salt, surrounding where we are.
Yes.
But there's said to be oceans of other substances beyond that. So if I remember correctly, there is an ocean of milk somewhere along this plane, but it's far beyond our reach as ordinary human beings on this plane, and even our masters and controllers, they have put a limit on places we can travel in this world, but a military limit, like where you'll literally be shot dead if you try and cross certain boundaries.
Bermuda Triangle is example.
I don't know what's going on.
The avatars here are not specifically from Earth. I mean, he's describing all the avatars. There is one more avatar where he appeared in Swargaloka. So these are basically
Vamana is in Swargaloka.
Yeah. Vamana is in the heavenly planets,
and also all these avatars, they are not from planet Earth as in geography.
Yeah, avatar itself doesn't means that one descends. So not from Earth coming to Earth. But to be fair to Piyush's point, they usually all have some profound effect on what's happening on the Earth.
I understood your doubt. I'll exactly explain what happens.
Yeah. So, but it's...
but they are from this Brahmanda, from this 14 planet systems created.
Yeah, it's definitely in this universe appearing, but...
from different planes.
Yeah.
From Swargaloka, from
where these things are happening, to me, it's they're all mystical type of tales. I don't have practical experience of any of these things, so I can only just reference what it says. That's the best I've got, unfortunately. But I do. You can glean a lot of meaning from hearing these pastimes. So when the actual pastime is told later in the Bhagavatam, there's a lot of allegorical meaning that you can really take, and it could be very positive for your life. So that's mostly how I am forced to associate with these pastimes, because I cannot go to any ocean of milk, or maybe I can pray to some of these beings or something like that. But yeah, there's no but you can get a lot of meaning from the pastimes and the many lessons that each avatar teaches in the pastimes. But the actual where they happen, that's actually almost all hypothetical because we don't really know. You know, that's there are shastric scholars who have evidence or belief of certain things or that, and our acharyas say certain things and we believe them, but you're not going to be able to find material evidence for where the ocean of milk is or anything like that. There's no there's no possibility that we can measure these things. Like I've heard some say that the Milky Way, it's described as our galaxy, and these are all cosmic events happening, on a different type of plane. So anyway, it's all speculative at my level. All I can do is speculate, which isn't really the proper means of understanding anything, because my speculation is very limited. So basically, we take the Bhagavatam for what it is, and we want to get a bona fide translation. But okay, it says this, and we try and get as much meaning as we can from it without going too crazy. Like, well, where is this ocean? Where is it like this? How did this happen? Where did he do this? Where did he do that? Because it's...
We should understand more about the personality of Godhead than the geography of it.
Yeah, I mean, we should try, but also most of the time we should just, what is the message?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, what is the Lord's message in this?
What is learning from
this? How can this practically relate to our life?
Yeah.
That's often the best, rather than try and get a history, set of events. It happened like this, and and that's very attractive to the scientific community, but for the devotee,
because they are mentioning some specific mountains. For example, when Ramayana happens, so like when Krishna picked up the Govardhan Parvat, it says there's a Parvat called Govardhan Parvat, and when the Ramayana happens, so what was the name of the other one he brought? The Dronagiri Parvat was mentioned. Right now here a mountain was mentioned which was used to churn the cosmic ocean. Mandarachal.
Yeah.
So I was wondering which is that hill, or what's the name, why significance it is that?
That is different. Mandarachal is different.
Yeah.
Mandarachal is in the so I'll explain you how the Brahmanda is basically.
Yeah.
So it is on the bottom of this Brahmanda.
Yeah. Okay.
And Lord Vishnu is beyond, sleeping below that. For each Brahmanda, as we hear that from Mahavishnu, every Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu enters every universe, and then from his belly comes
Mahavishnu. What is Mahavishnu?
The Mahavishnu is the ultimate Vishnu, and the
from whose pores the Brahmanda
yes.
come out.
Narayan, right?
Yes, Narayan.
Okay.
And from whose pores all the Brahmandas
Yeah.
come.
Okay, that I understand. Right? Mahavishnu is some other version of
Yeah,
Vishnu.
it's giving some type of explanation to how our universe is staying in place, and there's it's help of the avatars to create the kind of outlines.
Is it in a particular book?
No, this is in Bhagavatam. I'll explain. Show you.
Oh, okay. It's only in Bhagavatam.
Everything is, no, I mean there are multiple books, but Bhagavatam gives.
Yeah,
good
Bhagavatam. Yeah, and Prabhupada. This is just a very quick summary of the incarnations. So you're not going to get all the explanations, but this will be explained to some degree. Yeah, when you go through.
Priyavrata Maharaj,
Okay.
there everything is explained very detailed, very detailed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very deep.
So it'll be explained, but again, we're not going to be able to practically measure and see these things with our eyes and
These are mostly
ears.
informative. Like you want to
Yeah.
you have
This
to
is like a manual from a person who made this universe.
Yes.
This is
it is not even a detailed instruction. It's just
it's very detailed, but you can't understand it because but you
Yeah.
should accept because this is given by the Lord.
yeah. Remote ऐसे चलता है तो चल देगा.
That is true.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to verify it with your senses. It's not
The demigods are
possible.
able to verify, but not we.
Yes.
They can.
True.
Yeah. But the main thing, the essence is what is the message here, and then, you hear, let the message resonate with you. And then you can go back and maybe you can have faith in all these things.
The good thing what I've seen is, I see many instances in Ramayana where you see Ravana went there, went here, and then he conquered this land, that land. Those all things match with Bhagavatam. And again, if you go into Mahabharata, there are few descriptions where Bhima goes to Kubera and all those things. So all those descriptions, if you match, they kind of match with Bhagavatam. So if you join them, sing them, you understand, okay, this is what they are speaking of. You understand that. So everything matches, so that is mean.
Yeah, Bhagavatam is older than Ramayana?
No.
No.
Ramayana is very old.
Okay.
Ramayana is very, very, very old. And then Mahabharata is more new.
The Yuga is even different, right? Ramayana Yuga is different.
Yes.
It's older Yuga.
Yes.
No.
Yes, it is Treta, yes. So okay, we've not even read one verse though. So we have to do like this. Prabhupada says, once both the atheists and the theists were engaged in producing nectar from the sea so that all of them could become deathless by drinking it. At that time, the Mandarachala hill was used as the churning rod, and the shell of Lord Tortoise, the incarnation of Godhead, became the resting place, pivot of the hill in the seawater. So this is, oh God, what Piyush?
Yes. So he used the term atheistic and theistic, and they were trying to get the nectar. But as we know that it was demigods and the demons.
Yes.
So all theistic are demons then? All atheistic are demons?
The demons are atheistic, yes.
No, but he used the word atheistic. But
Yes.
but it will signify that all atheists are demons then.
Yes, all atheists are definitely following the demonic path. Now, I mean, there are actual very powerful atheists which are called asuras, that like a class of the atheistic, like
the ultimate atheist will be a demon as far as.
well, if the pinnacle of where atheism leads would lead to an asura, where like an empowered body to pretty much fulfill atheistic desires, and that's called an
And
asura.
asura will be an atheist, but atheist may not be asura, no?
Well, you can be a human, and as an atheist, you are practicing like a type of asuric type of knowledge. Just like a devotee often takes on the qualities of the demigods in a human being form, but at the same time, no, the body is not like a demigod's body. But you're practicing, and actually, if you continue like this, in the next life, you likely will become a demigod. Or and similarly, if the atheists in the next life, they'll likely become an asura, because that's where their consciousness is leading them, and that will ultimately be part of their karma. So yes, Prabhupada is calling once both the atheists and the theists, but yes, we know it as the demons and the demigods, or the suras and the asuras. So, so this is a pastime that will be explained further on. I wish I had the qualification to matter-of-factly explain things, but like I said, it's it's beyond my scope of being able to measure things. So we'll continue though. Danvantaram dvadashamam
Danvantaram dvadasham
Trayodashamam evacha
Trayodashmam avayavacha
Apaya yatsurananyan
Apayatsurananya
Mohinya mohayan striya
Mohanya mohayan sisya
Danvantaram,
Danvantaram,
the incarnation of Godhead named Danvantari.
the incarnation of Godhead named Dhanvantari.
Dvadashamam,
Dvadasmam,
the 12th in the line.
the 12th in the line.
Trayodashamam,
Trayodashmam,
the 13th in the line.
13th this one.
Eva,
Eva,
certainly.
certainly.
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Apayayat,
Apaya,
gave to drink.
gave to drink.
Suran,
Sura,
the
the
demigods.
demigods.
Anyan,
Anyan,
others.
others.
Mohinya,
Mohinya,
by charming beauty.
by charming beauty.
Mohayan,
Mohayan,
alluring.
alluring.
Striya,
Striya,
in the form of a
in
woman.
the form of a woman.
In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari. In the 13th, he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. That's the Mohini incarnation, Mohinya, and means her with her charming attraction. The Dhanvantari is also, he is said to be the incarnation who presented the science of Ayurveda, how to actually maintain one's health. And it's interesting, he was carrying the nectar of immortality. And it was given to the demigods ultimately, and the demons were cheated out of it. Why? By the charming beauty of a woman. For me, some allegorical meaning there is present, is that by actually taking to this healthy practices given by, say, Dhanvantari, the science of Ayurveda, you can actually very much prolong the life, so much. But the atheists, who are always after their own sense pleasure, the charming beauty of a woman will ultimately bewilder them, and that very charming beauty often makes them do all kinds of practices in trying to enjoy with women that often cause them to lose their own longevity. Like, for instance, the ultimate enjoyment between man and woman is the sex pleasure, but by the losing of the vital essences of the two, it's proven to shorten the life significantly. So, we, by our own vices, we're cheated out of this longevity that's naturally given by following higher senses of pleasure. But anyway, that's not exactly explained here, and Prabhupada gives no commentary on it. So why don't we keep moving? But that's something that at least I've kind of gleaned from this pastime, not to try and pursue the things ultimately that it's proven will shorten my lifespan. Chaturdasham Narasimham Bibhradaityendra Murjitam Tadara Karajerura Erakam Katakridyata Chaturdasham, the 14th in the line. Narasimham, the incarnation of the Lord, is half man and half lion. Bibhra, advented. Daitya Indram, the king of the atheists. Orjitam, strongly built. Dadara, bifurcated. Karajai, by the nails. Uro, on the lap. Erakam, canes. Katakrit, carpenter. Yatha, just like. He says, in the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Narasimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces cane. Again, this incarnation will be very detailedly explained. These forms are all quite interesting. You've got a fish, you've got a tortoise, you've got avatars coming out of oceans of milk, and then there's the beautiful woman, alluring woman avatar, and then now a half man, half lion. I wouldn't get too mental about all of this. Just hear the pastime. That's my recommendation. Hear the pastime and see the deep internal meaning and the messages of the characters in each pastime. And see how that relates to you, and see what type of realizations come. Narasimha, actually he's here on our altar, and often in Prabhupada had us chant, especially in the West. This Narasimha really wasn't traditionally worshipped by our line too much. Why? Because it's not so much in the internal sentiments that our acharyas really had in their worship. They were very focused on Radha and Krishna, and Nrsimha would intermixed with that is like if you have very sweet pastimes, but you have the very frightening Nrsimha avatar, it creates a mood that's different. But why did Prabhupada implement Nrsimha worship? Is actually because when he started spreading all over the world, us, especially the Western devotees, we had so many inauspicious things and habits that we do, even in our worship, that we found ourselves in many dangerous positions, and many dangerous, I think, adversaries were coming up against the devotees. And I think, I forget.
It happened in India.
What's that?
It happened in India.
It did happen in India?
Yeah.
But regardless, my wife has read Lilamrita.
The Juhu property, they tried to send dacoits in to kill and steal.
Okay, so
I think Prabhupada was not doing well health-wise, so he did tell the devotees to pray to Narsimha Bhagwan.
And
Yes.
Mayapur, actually.
Yes. So yeah, many inauspicious things were happening in Juhu and Mayapur, and then Rishi said maybe Prabhupada's help. Whatever reason, Prabhupada has implemented Nrsimha worship, that he felt it would be appropriate for
Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Durantam Sarvatomukham
yes.
Narsimham Vishnam Mandram Mritryo Mrityum Namamiham.
Yes, that's one mantra for yagya, but the Nrsimha prayer that you sing every morning, that was what Prabhupada implemented that we do, and even there's some Nrsimha deities were implemented as well. So anyway, this Nrsimha as part of our lineage, at least ISKCON's lineage, became very prominent because we. And also it was prominent in Chaitanya Lila. This is who the devotees would pray to overcome danger. So Prabhupada, seeing us as an extension of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Lila, also implemented Nrsimha worship to protect the devotees in the mission. So this, even yesterday, I wasn't expecting to chant the Nrsimha prayer to close out the retreat, but at the end of the retreat, one of the organizers came up to me do Nrsimha, and just very, very adamantly wanting to do Nrsimha prayer. And I said, okay. Why? Because she realized everyone was going to be traveling, and people get in their cars and things like that. Like we saw an accident yesterday, and to protect them from anything that inauspicious that could happen in their travels, the Nrsimha is worshipped because he's the protector of the devotees, and he protected Prahlad in this pastime. So anyway, these things are here. It's not a traditional, worship sentiment by many of our acharyas. But even though Lord Chaitanya also did, when he would pass the Nrsimha Dwara gate, he would sing Namaste Narasim. That's why we sing that, because it's in. And then the other one is Tavatara Kamala Vare. That's part of Jayadev Goswami's Dash Avatar Stotram. So in Gita Govinda. So this is as well. This is how Prabhupada composed the bhajan that we, that we sing to Nrsimha. So anyway, these are just some things, but. Panchadasham Vamanakam Kritvagad Bale Padatrayam Yachamana Pratyaditsus Tripistapam Panchadasham, the 15th in the line. Vamanakam, the dwarf Brahmana. Kritva, by assumption of. Agat, when. Advaram, arena of sacrifice. Bale, of King Bali. Padatrayam, 3 steps only. Yachamanaha, begging. Pratyaditsu,
Pratyaditsu,
willing at heart to return.
willing at heart to return.
Tripishtapam,
Tripishtapam,
the kingdom of the three planetary
the
systems.
kingdom of three planetary systems.
In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf Brahmana, Vaman, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the three planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. Purport: the Almighty God can bestow upon anyone the kingdom of the universe from a very small beginning, and similarly, he can take away the kingdom of the universe on the plea of begging a small piece of land. This will be understood more deeply in the pastime itself. This is found in the 8th canto of Vaman. This actually happened I was born on this day. Vaman Dwadashi is my birthday, actually, my Vedic birthday. So this is, a really wonderful pastime of the Lord. It happened on the earth, actually. But Vaman was born of the demigods. He was born in the heavens, or appeared in the heavens, but it happened on the earth. I think there's a place near the Narmada River that you can actually go to where this happened. But actually, this is a really wild type of pastime where Vamana starts as a little boy asking for 3 steps of land, and Bali Maharaj is the king of the universe. But he's so charmed by Vaman, but Shukracharya, who's also the personality governing the planet Venus, he said, no, you do not, don't give it to him. This is Vishnu, he'll steal everything from you. And Venus, Shukra, is very much, this is actually a story about the need sometimes, if a guru figure in your life, and Shukra was the guru of the demons, if the guru steers you away from the absolute truth, which can easily happen, it's possible. Someone you see as a teacher, a parent or anyone, they steer you away from the absolute truth, that actually you should reject them. And actually Bali did reject his guru. And Vaman then, he was given the 3 steps of land, and with the first 2 steps, he expanded himself vastly, and with 1 step he covered 1 portion of the universe, another step he covered the other portion. And then the 3rd step, he's like, you promised me 3 steps of land, where will you give? And so Bali Maharaj was completely conquered, and he said, please place it on the top of my head. So Vaman, it seemed like he chastised Bali. He bound him up, he arrested him, and he pushed him down with the 3rd step all the way down to the Patala regions. But ultimately, it was seen later on that this was the greatest blessing of Bali, and Bali's character was exemplified. And he's glorified as a Mahajan, one of the great personalities, due to how he handled the Vaman incarnation. So these incarnations have really, really wonderful, sweet pastimes. And so we're just going through some of them. And again, this is all, it's far out, it's mystical, it seems almost like... no offense, you guys are born with this type of understanding, but from the Western purview, it totally, we're conditioned into believing things like this are fairy tales or some type of mythology or something.
I think our parents' generation must be that, but our generation will also take it as a fairy tale because we are fed Western way of living.
Yes.
Since the birth,
yes.
we are seeing Cartoon Networks, we are seeing Disney movies, we are seeing everything.
Sure.
So most of our lives, being Indian as well, was governed by Western ideologies.
You're conquered by Western ideologies for years, and Britain has ruled even up until most recently.
Yeah. And after mass media, everything was very commercial. So Western was no different from most of the Indians trained in convent schools or Christian schools mostly.
Yeah.
Because they used to teach English. English was a medium.
Sure. I've met tons of Indians who tell me that this is all mythology that I'm following.
Yeah.
And I'm, stunned by that. It's, I can understand why they might think that.
Yes.
I can understand. I also sometimes I do wonder, okay, if this is true, because I don't have realization of the absolute truth. I don't have direct realization of all these things. For me, this is an experimental phase of my life where I'm applying these things and seeing how they apply to my life. And I've actually have felt wonderful results come from these practices, which is why I continue with my faith deepening. But yeah, this is these type of things, they could sound like mythology. They could sound like fairy tales or fables or something. But actually, what do we really know? And if we come down to it, we all have practical experience of about 0% of the universe, approaching zero. And our senses are very limited of what it can study. So to just make these assumptions, this is all fairy tale, this is all mythology, it actually could be the greatest injustice to ourselves, because a phenomena that, and this is an axiom that people say, that the truth is actually stranger than fiction. This is well known that when people get to the bottom of the truth of certain situations, they'll find it's more bizarre than fiction. So, if we're talking about the creations of the universe, it could be more bizarre than fiction. It could be more bizarre, and it could seem like mythology and fairy tale and all these things. But what practical experience do we have of universal creation? What practical experience do we have of the powers that be that govern everything? We don't have it. So, to just discard these type of things is a very arrogant position. And so I try personally not to take that position, even though I must admit, when I hear some of these things, I internally wrestle with them. I'm like, what? Milk, oceans of sweat, the Lord out of a lotus, all this, it's hard. It's really quite hard for me to just speak so matter-of-factly. Yes, this is absolutely reality, because it's definitely not my conditioned nature. And then at the same time, I have to cultivate faith to realize these things. I have to have my own personal revelation, because there's also mystic sense that, there are yogis who can perceive the chakras. I mean, even Jesus in the book of Revelations, there's a meditative experience of John given in the book of Revelations in the Bible that explains the future coming of Christ. But actually, it's a detailed description of the opening of the chakra system. It's very, very...
Do you find relation between Bible and Bhagavad Gita that teaches a lot?
Yeah, many things. But they're not like congruent, where they're not like synonymous, where you're just like, you just replace Bhagavad Gita and replace it with the Bible, or replace the Bible and replace it with Bhagavad Gita. You won't get the same result. Every path leads to a different type of destination, but there are many parallels. So anyway, you're going to find that in your mystic exploration, that also what's being explained here in a literary sense may also have a meaning that's quite different when you actually personally experience that. That like for instance, in the Bible, they talk about the 7 seals and 7 churches in the book of Revelation. But if you understand that these are allegorical descriptions of an energetic thing that's happening at like the chakra level, it's a completely different understanding than what someone who's a Bible thumper or a Bhagavatam thumper or a Bhagavad Gita thumper, who take everything so literally and then make their own false interpretations of a thing, and then are so staunch about presenting it a certain way. Actually, it might not be that way. So we have to be very, like for instance, you asked me about the ocean of milk. I could have matter-of-factly told you where I heard it was, but actually I don't have any matter-of-fact information on where the ocean of milk is and how it all works. We only know how some interpreters are presenting it, but it's, for me at least, I try to be more careful with what I claim to be facts, because I really don't know. I don't know. I can tell you that this type of teaching is very inspiring for me. The messages inside have been profound and life-changing for me. But when you ask me some of these technical questions about where the ocean of milk is, or is this location in the universe and things like that, I have no practical experience of any of that. I can only just maybe relate to what we're told here and what the commentary of our acharyas have given.
It's also a waste of time in a sense. Like, okay,
What's that?
It's also will be a waste of time in a sense of asking such questions. Because it will not lead to any satisfactory answers anyway, because you can just quote the referencing of the book and you cannot even know and go to a place of recitations.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. It doesn't oftentimes have so much practical relevance.
In which
But there is a geography given. There is an it is interesting for many as well. So I don't want to say it has no meaning, but for most of us and many of us, it doesn't have so much practical relevance. It's not so much character stimulating information, whereas the actual message of the Bhagavat, that has so much character growth and stimulation. So anyway, we're going to end there. Very interesting type of incarnations we're going through. For anyone watching, so we just met a bunch of people at the Gita Nagari retreat, and for them, this is all going to be like, whoa, what the heck are we talking about? Yeah. So yeah, we should just in case anyone is listening from a Western background, I would say don't just discard this thing because it sounds mythological or fable or fairy tale, but at the same time, approach something and like Jesus says, we should approach the Lord like a child, and just be open. A child, they don't argue with you. They don't. If you tell them something, like we had this really nice boy, Kashik, and I find that those on the mental spectrums, special needs, whatever the politically correct terminology is for these things, they're often so childlike. And actually, it was so nice to have him with us all weekend because of his very childlike nature. Even though he's in an older body and he has facial hair and things like that, he's in a man's body, but he's a very childlike person, and it's so nice and it's so innocent to watch him approach the world. And actually, I find myself learning, and I felt like we all did. Like there was this one girl who was trying to provoke an argument with me at the end of the retreat. She was quite disturbed in some way. But I noticed when it shifted is when Kaushik just very innocently, he's like, Ramdas, when are we leaving? Because he knew we were getting late. But his childlike actual innocence actually completely shifted the whole type of thing, and any type of point either of us were trying to make at that point just didn't seem to matter. So if we approach the Lord in this type of childlike manner, and we don't take such strong opinions about one side or the other, fanatical on one side, it says like this, it has to be like this.
It also mentioned about those who are childlike will enter the kingdom of God easily.
Yes, Jesus absolutely emphasizes this. This is emphasized also in Bhagavat philosophy. I mean, look at the first incarnations. What was the first incarnations mentioned in this chapter? The four Kumaras. The child incarnations who decided they never wanted to go past being children. Why? Because there's a value to taking the childlike approach to life. And you can actually...
You just enjoy every moment and you're not attached to any particular thing. You are not bounded with attachment. Asakti doesn't build with childlike.
Yeah. Well, Ashakti is actually a desired element of bhakti. It's one of the final phases before prem. You do want attachment, but you want a different type of attachment. Yeah. Children are very attached, but they're also very innocent, and they don't get bound up by.
They're completely dependent on their parents.
Yeah. Yeah, oftentimes we're completely dependent, and so when approaching the Supreme, if you're completely dependent on the Supreme, this is very good. but they're very innocent, and they're not bound up so much by lust. Actually, the reason the Kumaras chose to stay children is because they didn't want to be harassed by lust, which is the selfish desire to try and enjoy one's senses in this world. So they decided to stay children. So I think we can learn a lot from that, and even Christian teachings, about the importance of approaching God as a child, are also present there as well. And I'm sure there's other references. I swear I've heard other references, even in the Bhagavatam, of the value of approaching. I mean, you look at the residents of Vrindavan, how do they best approach Krishna? They're all childlike pastimes. This is the said to be the highest and most pleasurable type of exchanges with God, are oftentimes as we're in the bodies of children, or in this bridge between childhood and youth. So anyway, quite literally, all of our acharyas' spiritual identities, they're all actually, I won't go but most have expressed that their eternal identities is that of a young child, and usually in the girl form. So anyway, I don't want to go to this is getting very esoteric here, but to approach the Lord as a child, and just to innocently just hear it, not so fanatically, maybe accept that, okay, what they're saying is they're trying to express truth to me, but just to evaluate with the heart of a child, and not to impose your own very limited and arrogant understandings of the world on this information, or just discard it because it sounds beyond what you could ever perceive as reality. Because like I said, that Western axiom is the truth is often stranger than fiction. So we might find that the truth of a situation, if we understand how things work, it's stranger than what we ever could have imagined through fiction. So anyway, that's how we'll close out today. I think we have to end here. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I know a lot of discussion today. It's good. It's healthy. Anyone listening online.
Next time I'll refrain from such questions.
No. These are good. Don't refrain.
I was just curious.
Yeah, we should be curious. This is very childlike. Children ask many questions. This is very good. Actually, this whole Bhagavatam is an exchange of questions and answers, and so is Bhagavad Gita. So unless we ask the questions, we'll not get satisfying answers. So I want to encourage that. So without further ado, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.